welcome back to another episode of the PR podcast. Today, I got Coach Bailey with me, and then also Coach Alex Watkins. Coach, how we doing, man? Thanks for coming by.
All right, man. We're doing good, man. Doing big. Great,
Good,
great to be
good.
a part of it.
Yeah, man, and just to kind of I'll introduce you, and then you can kind of go into a little bit about your background. But Coach Watkins, two-time national champion, played in the NFL, former strength and conditioning coach at Stillman College, the University of Alabama under Nick Saban, and also he's currently the strength coach at the University of Florida. So a lot of accomplishments, and he's seen a lot of things, and he's also accomplished a lot of things. So we're grateful that he's here with us, just kind of giving us some insight and just some different points of view on the recruiting. So we appreciate it.
All right, no doubt, man.
Thanks for taking
Yeah,
the time.
man. I've been a lot of places. So Stillman College was like probably the beginning of my journey, and I guess it's interesting. I have an interesting take because I've been on D2 level. I've been on the FCS level, FBS level, Group of Five, SEC. So yeah, man. Looking forward to getting into all this good stuff about recruiting.
Yeah. So for us, one of the things I just kind of want to know, and especially for young prospects, whatever sport it may be, in this going through the process right now, when you're at a level like the SEC, what do even the top 5% players on your guys' roster do differently than the rest of the 95? I think that's a key for me is when I was in college, okay, everyone thinks, oh, I'm in college and I made it. How do you further separate yourself, coach? And then also too, like when you're evaluating, these kids, because people don't understand how much time the strength coach is spending around the players. You guys spend more time around the players
Yeah.
than the actual coaching staff does. So when you're looking at, these prospects or these kids that are in your program, what do the top 5% do, differently? Kind of explain that.
All right. So top 5%, they usually uh, separate themselves by their work ethic and work ethic and routine. Believe it or not, man. And they go both hand in hand. And I tell my guys, and I coach all the linebackers. I train all linebackers in the weight room, and I try as soon as they come in the door. I say, hey, get a routine in place, and then that carry you a long way. A lot of guys they come in with a routine, or they'll get with a good upperclassman that's already been there, done that, and
Yeah.
they kind of go behind and follow them. So we got a couple examples on our team already. Like a young guy came in, and I think he's gonna be real good, and he's already paired up with one of the best players on the team and a good person on top of that, good work ethic. So man, I think that's one of the main keys uh, with being recruited from what they usually look for, at least on the strength and conditioning side and stuff like that. What they usually look for and what they come to us about is what is this kid's what do you think is a kid? What's the work ethic for him? Yes, everybody has. By the time they get to you, they already know that you're this size. You got this amount of stats. All right, so now you're looking at the Georgias, the Alabama, the Floridas, the top tier SEC schools or the top tier Power Five schools. They get to pick and choose what they want. All right, and what fits their program. So I heard a story that Kirby Smart, he's very picky on doing the DBs. Like he'll go through a whole questionnaire and answer tell these guys to answer it, and how they answer it is basically how he'll choose if he wants you or not. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
What's that initial stage though? I mean, when you guys, and I already know the answer to this, but I think it's really important coming from someone who's at the top. uh, I see a lot of people worried about metrics, worried about the 40, and again, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't have some some place and some merit, right? But ultimately, are you guys aligned with film is the biggest evaluator initially? That's the first initial step.
Man, yes, yes. I mean, for
Yeah.
foremost, they're gonna look at it, are you playing good? They're gonna look at your film. They're gonna after they look at your film, one thing, and then after they get, oh, he got good film, he looks good. All right, what type of competition is he playing against? All right, so now, all right, that's where you fall into. All right, if you say, for instance, you a small time kid and you burning it up, you beating every competition that you beating it. That's when the camps come into play. All
Mm-hmm.
right, that's when you go to these camps and you get noticed more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they already looked at your film. That's your initial thing. You got to show out on film. You got to, and you got to be also. And this is with the parents, and a lot of parents once you get to this level, especially nowadays, once you get to a level, they got to be. I guess what's the good word for it? They got to be. They got to know what type of conference they come from, what type of play they have. All right.
Yeah.
I know my play. I know my conference might not be that good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so if that's the case, I need to get my kid out to see more eyes. But off rip, you got to have good film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, Coach. For those of you that don't know, Coach Watkins was my strength and conditioning coach at Stillman College. Good to see you, Coach. One of the questions I had for you was coming out of high school, right? What separates the high school kid in terms of strength and conditioning versus the rest of the pack? Like, how important is it for a kid to emphasize the strength and conditioning to translate to the recruiting?
all right. So strength and conditioning is they'll usually come to us and when they as soon as you get in the door. So recruiting wise, it might not separate as much. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna show up on the field if you're stronger than somebody. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes size is overwhelming sometimes. So but you can see if a guy if he's a work ethic if it's stuff like that, and also they'll go to the coach and ask. What type of guy? What type of work ethic does he has? Does he train hard? Does he do this? Does he do that? And then
Mm-hmm.
I just hope open you up for success when you come wherever you get. I think strength conditioning is not so big on as uh, being recruited. All right,
Right.
because ultimately is you bench press a car. You can squat the house. You can do all that and get on the field and be garbage can juice. You know what I'm saying? So and me, um, if you got a good strength and conditioning background, when you get there, then you're ahead of the curve. All right. So that's what Josh talking about. When guys get there and you see that what's the top 5% separates from the other 95% is that's one of the keys. Is having
Yeah.
a good solid background in work ethic and working out. You ain't got to be able to learn how to do all these cleans and stuff like that, but you got to learn how to have a good capacity for the load for workload. So
Yeah.
And I guess to piggyback off that, coming out of high school, if you're going to play in the SEC, I mean, the season is long.
mm,
You get beat up, man. I mean, you're playing you're playing against the biggest and the fastest and the strongest in the whole country, right?
yes.
So, coming from high school, how important would you say it is for a kid to be actually training and being ready to take on that beating your freshman year? Like, would you say you can separate yourself just starting in high school, trying to get big, fast, and strong, so you at least have a chance to compete your freshman year?
Yes, I think that if you're working out, if you have a good background with that, it saves you from injuries. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get guys that come there and they get overload injuries. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they get in there, they're not used to working out and then doing 7-on-7. This is the summertime. This is for example. Working out. You work out. You come in. You run. Then you lift, and then the next thing you know, you're doing 7-on-7, and then you expect to come back to do the same thing the next day. So
Right.
so you got so that work
What
capacity
percentage? What? Go ahead.
that
That
work
work
capacity
capacity.
is a real thing. I'm sorry, I'm trying to give me a little
What
juice. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good, man. What percentage would you say of incoming freshmen really though have you can tell just looking at their bodies, you can watch how explosive they are through their hips, their mobility. What percentage of freshmen really have a good strength and conditioning, background? And would you say that let's say because yeah, your level, right? They're all really good, right? I mean, you guys are getting the cream of the crop. You're getting the top in the Southeast, and really nowadays it's all over the country. You got kids coming. Look at Bryce Young from Southern California to Alabama. Like that's happening all the time. What percentage of the kids coming in absolutely have a really, really good, strength and conditioning background?
Um, More so now than there are back then and when I came out, just because of um, the biggest thing is for like you to have a trainer, a supplemental trainer, and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So it's a little bit different now, but
yeah,
but the percentage of like you can look at a guy and be like, hey, he's physically ready
hmm
is probably you probably can tell probably 80% of the time. All right, you do get some of those guys. I remember being at Mississippi State, and what's his name, Emmanuel Forbes, E-Man.
hmm
Just got drafted first round. You know what I'm saying? He came in 6'2", 148 pounds. I said, oh man, he got to get to 170 before he play. And now he can
yeah,
then bald. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's them outliers. Right? But you can look at him and tell me he's physically developed for his size. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? But it's one of those things is like, and then you also can get stuck on the outliers. That with that being said, a lot of kids come in and be like, well, shoot, man, Devontae Smith weighed this. I'm like, well, you don't know what he weighed when he came in the door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? If
Yeah.
you weigh the same
yeah.
that he weighs right now, you should be getting bigger than him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's another thing that people get out there and they compare themselves to another person. All right, that happens to be the same size, but he also 5 years, 6 years older than you, and you're the same size as him, and you're not even through puberty yet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I
that
got
like
you. I got you.
yeah, so yeah.
And you've worked with some of the top. How many first rounders have you worked with at this point? First, second rounders.
Probably about 5, 6. If you count where I intern, probably upwards of 10. So
Gotcha. When you and so those type of cats, like, is their approach different in the weight? I mean, obviously again there are outliers. Some dudes are just so much better. You have the one percenters, right? But a lot of times I feel like, especially we're talking, being a first rounder. Um, what's their approach? How's their approach different from the rest of the team? Do you feel like it is?
yeah, I mean, for most of the time, I guess I play with a couple of them, man. I play with a couple of them, and they come in and a lot of guys confuse that when they get to the spot, it's just because they just came in there on their talent, straight talent.
Yeah.
I'm like, and that's not the case.
Right.
First of all, you gotta be available, all right, to be on the field.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means you gotta take training serious. You gotta take the weight room, the training room, all that gotta be serious to even get to be available to play all those games, to be
Right.
out there 70 snaps. You know what I'm saying, and
hmm
then put out the film. So um, a lot of guys work ethic for those first rounders. Well, was nice.
I
Yeah.
I was curious as to what you think about. I mean, because you're at Florida, so and when you were at Bama too, you see the best kids in the country come take visits, right?
Mm.
When they come to campus, what do you think separates them in terms of conversations, how they brand themselves, how they present themselves, how they talk, versus the rest of the pack? Like, what kind of questions do they ask? How much better prepared are they for visits than all the other kids?
Man, I know a lot. You can tell who takes their business serious. All right, and like I don't care if you're Florida. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're Florida. I want to know what you can do for me. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what you can do for me. I want to know how much you can develop me. Yeah, yeah. I might be a fan. I might have been raised in Gainesville. I might be from 2 hours down the road, but like, what? How can you make me better as a football player? You know what I'm saying? And when you get guys coming in and asking those questions, oh, that's the guy. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy. That's the person that you want. You want these guys to come in here and to question what the coaches can do for them because ultimately, you know what I'm saying, it's their game. You know, if you're the top dog, if you're the top dog in these in top 100 or top 50, and you coming in and they want you, you got to decipher which program can you excel in. All
Mm-hmm.
right, just because you're top 50 don't mean you can succeed everywhere. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know, you can fall into a scheme that doesn't fit you, and then
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's and
Well,
that's
fit
where
matters too. I mean, I think
yeah,
people do that all the time. I see nowadays too, especially with the NIL
yes,
stuff. People just jersey chase. You know, what's
yeah,
what's the best, biggest program? You better go find a place that's going to fit your system and your scheme. I mean, especially I know for me personally, like I was not trying to go run a wing T style offense, obviously, right? I mean, but
yeah.
again, if sometimes families like, well, shoot, Georgia Tech offer, we're going there. We're not even thinking about it. But no, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think all that stuff that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Coach, in terms of like, okay, to piggyback off that last question, you guys have kids on your board, right? And they might be neck and neck with each other. I'm talking about they're splitting hairs, right? How much is the coach's preference in terms of, okay, well, I like the way he talked, I like the way he presented himself. How much does that come into factor in terms of actually giving that kid a scholarship? Like, have you ever seen, you know, some kids very close to getting a scholarship, but ultimately it came down to we just like his personality more and the way he sells himself?
Man, I haven't been in a war room like that, but I done heard several stories. You know what I'm saying? When I was in Texas Southern, yes, you get a lot of guys that get, yeah, I don't think he's gonna fit because he's just not. I don't think he's gonna fit in the locker room. I just don't think he's gonna fit
Yeah,
in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? And you trying to build a certain type of atmosphere, a certain type of culture, and if he don't fit it, and you splitting hairs,
on the
and then
next.
yeah,
Because you're gonna be in, dude. You're gonna be on the bus with this kid. You're gonna be traveling with him. Late night study, film. You got to have somebody that meshes well with the entire coaching staff, right? So, I think me personally, since I walked on, that was a very underestimated aspect for me. I was unprepared for how well do I actually fit in with these coaches, and what are my chances of actually giving opportunity from the coaching staff? I completely underestimated that as a walk on.
hmm for sure, yeah. Don't get me started on walk-ons. Oh man.
Well, yeah,
They-
look. We talk to kids all the time, and they say, if it doesn't work out, I'll just find a program to walk on. I'm like, listen, kid, don't do it. Like I did it. I'm telling you, it's not a route you want to take because it is of the 1% that actually make it to spend the next 4 years there. It's probably I don't
Oh
even know what
yeah.
the percentage is on that. I mean,
I mean, you got to have good walk-ons for a successful program. I mean, that's right. You know what I'm saying? But like, you got to figure out what your goals and aspirations are, and you got to look back for the history of like Alabama. Say, for instance, when I played there, walk-on safeties play a lot. You know what I'm saying? Just because you just got to be smarter than the other guy. After a
mm-hmm.
while, when a guy keep on busting, after a while, walk on safety play a lot. But now if you're a walk on wide receiver, when last time you seen a walk on wide receiver in Alabama? I don't think you seen one. You know what I'm
No,
saying? So when you're a walk on, you trying to choose a specific program. All right, like here in Florida, we give walk ons a new walk on scholarship every spring. You know what I'm saying? So that's good for this program, but you go to another program and the walk-ons probably get one only their senior year. You know what I'm
right.
Yeah.
saying? So
How,
yeah.
how have you guys seen, with walk-ons too, and obviously the influx in the transfer portal? How do you guys
Mhm.
as a staff approach that? How do you feel about that? Because I can tell you, look, when you offer a kid a scholarship to play at a place like Florida, it could be Stillman College, just Texas Southern, it doesn't matter, right?
Mhm.
Um, that's a commitment, and nowadays, over half the kids are leaving and bouncing. And I think a majority of them. I saw a study the other day that a lot of these kids aren't even re-signing to new places. How do you guys as a staff feel when a kid just picks up and goes? I mean, what are your real, true, honest thoughts on that?
All right. So first thing they look at is why he left. All right.
Yeah,
Why he left, and all these coaches now, you know what I'm saying? They got it's a tight knit network. They know somebody on that staff. All right,
Yep.
they might know a QC. Shoot, they might know a equipment manager, and that's all they know. Hey, how was this guy? You know what I'm saying? And oh man, he was late all the time, man. He just got ran out of here because he was just a bad apple, and then boom, now ain't nobody picking you up. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know what I'm saying? So,
But people don't think, yeah, people think like, I mean, obviously it's affected high school recruiting, but a lot of these kids are leaving it and actually leaves open more spots, right? Even at the other
yeah,
levels and smaller levels, there really are. People, a lot of times, I feel like, families, they're like, well, the portal, there's no opportunities. Look, if you're good, if you're better than that next guy, they're looking for quality dudes who also, I mean, especially at your level, you got to be professional, man. You're 18 years old, you better act like you're 28 because
yeah,
you're expected to do X, Y, and Z. I mean, I'm sure, even you're coaching under a staff that, I mean, this is your guys' livelihood. If you don't win games, you don't stay in the SEC. And nowadays, I mean, your old ball coach, he's pretty much the one that started all of it. Everyone wants to compare to Coach Saban, and if you don't win games in 3 or 4 years, you better pack your bags and get out. So that can be a tough aspect too, I imagine.
yeah, man.
Everyone wants to. Paul Feinbaum the other day had me hot talking about Coach Saban. Did you see that?
Nah, I ain't see it, man. What he was talking about?
He said if Saban doesn't make the national championship this year, that his legacy will be tainted. Literally
Yeah.
quoted.
He's idiot.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
he's just reaching for straws. He reaching for
Yeah.
Oh
straws.
yeah.
And
That's all.
like
That's all.
he just trying to split hairs. You trying to make a story. That's what you're trying to do. You know what I'm
For sure.
saying? Where's a story? No. He's
Clicks. It's all about the clicks these days. It's the
yeah.
clicks.
You
It's
know
the clicks.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then if he doesn't win, he's still gonna be top five, top
Oh no, he's
top
the best.
six.
No, I don't think anyone. I don't think
I
anyone
mean,
is
he
the
doesn't have to
best,
win
man.
another
I'm
game.
talking about. I'm talking about by the time Bama done. I'm pretty sure if he
Oh,
going, yeah,
oh
they gonna,
yeah.
no other coach than has been that consistent.
He doesn't
Yeah,
have to win
Yeah.
another game, in my opinion. But
yeah,
Yeah.
I had a good question for you, Coach. So you just mentioned, everyone, we talk to kids all the time, and they always ask us about the transfer portal and how that affects recruiting, right? But a very underestimated element of the recruiting is the coaches moving around too. I mean, it's equally as fluid, like you just said. So if you had a son, what are some things you would tell him about building relationships with coaches and basically not to get your emotions involved with just saying, I want to reach out to these 5 schools? Because as you and I both know, by the time if you're a junior, you got these 5 schools that you want to play for, the coaching staff could change within the next few months, right? So
yeah.
how do you be careful about putting too many eggs in one basket and not building relationships with enough coaches? What's the fine line on that?
Well, I this is just what I did, and I think it still holds right now. What I did when I was choosing is you choose a school, not a coach. It is what it is at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? You try to find out what school can that you like, that you love. All right, and then all right, now you go with hey, can this coach help me and all that stuff like that. But if I was a parent, I'm telling these kids, be careful, like who's up there, and be careful who you trying to make relationships with. You know, and then because it's fluid. It's a fluid table. You know, they call it coaching carousel for a reason. Every year it happens around the same time, and he might not be not getting fired. He might just be going somewhere else. You know, your position coach might be going to be a head coach somewhere else. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then you so locked in with them, and you're like, wow, man, I don't know if I want to go to this school or not. You know, and you still got to ask questions after they left, who y'all replacing with, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. And then you do your research on that coach and stuff like that, man. But I feel like it's more research based. All right, so I know it's kind of tough if you get into a situation and you already there, and then your coach left like that within that couple months. I mean that apparently sucks, but I always tell them, man, find more things than just a coach to commit to a school. Don't commit to a coach just to a coach. You got to commit to other things too. So
Right. And to piggyback off that, a lot of these kids, of course, they want to play for Power Five schools, but they're just unfamiliar with all the mid-major schools out there, all the smaller NCS schools. So, what advice would you give kids about um, how they fit into a school? Like, what would you look for if you were picking a school?
All right, so I'm looking. I'm making a list. All right, so if it's my list, I got how can this? When can I play? All right, when can I play? Is it important to me to play right away? All right, you look at that. All right, and then how can I be developed? All right, how many? If I'm trying to go to the NFL, which every kid should be trying to go to the NFL, no matter what level you're going to. Um, how many players have came in that position from that school to the NFL? All right, that's when you cut these splitting hairs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, like Mississippi State, Florida, they come out with a lot of D linemen. D linemen, I don't think they missed their D lineman class yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that somebody's getting drafted every year being a D lineman. Um, so you looking at that, and then you gotta look at your schooling. All right, you gotta look at your schooling because at the end of the day, you're not gonna play forever. All right, what's the graduation rate for student athletes? Uh,
Hmm.
you gotta figure out that. Do they take care of you afterwards? That's another I think kids don't get at all because they're so young they don't understand about what's after football. All right, so me, I might look at how many coaches, how many ex players, especially they've been there a long time, like a coach there been there for a long time, or if he's coached somewhere else, how many former players he has working for him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how are you really taking care of your kids? Are you really taking care of the people that you say you're taking care of?
Oh,
All
the,
right.
the networking's crazy. I mean, especially
Yeah.
obviously where you came from, but the networking, I mean, you got to consider that. And I feel like at all levels within a university, I mean, these universities, if you're a successful athlete, you are respectful on campus, and the staff around the school, what I don't care how small of a college it is, they have the ability to really set you up career wise. So I mean, I think that's a really cool point.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, yeah, man, we appreciate you stopping by. We really do. You're about to start up fall camp here, so you're about to be busiest time of the year, probably coming up here next week.
Yeah, yeah. A couple weeks. We started in a couple weeks. We gotta go see the
Okay.
wife and go play some ball.